All right, so in today's video, I wanted to go over the number one lever you can pull in your email marketing that'll double or even triple your revenue from your emails in the next 6 to 12 months. So if you're wondering if it's some crazy strategy or takes hours and hours a week, no, it's nothing like that. Simply spending 1 hour on this per week is all you need. Okay, so what this lever is your email list growth rate. Now, if you're wondering why this is such a big deal, well, think about it. Brands are so quick to focus on their flows or their campaigns, and they wonder why their email revenue isn't growing at all. But what you want to start thinking about is how quickly you can actually grow your email list first, and then on the back end, worry about your flows and your campaigns and your design and all that stuff. The reason why is because your email list growth is the only thing that directly affects every single other area of your email marketing strategy. Because the bigger your list, the more people will see your flows, the more people see your campaigns, and the more revenue you'll drive from every single email. And if you're wondering what the fastest and best way to grow your email list in ecom, it is no doubt your website pop-up. This is because nearly every single person who visits your website will be given a chance to actually see the pop-up and sign up. And if you have tens of thousands of people signing up to your email list every single month, there's so many opportunities to drive email list growth from that traffic. Now, I know what you're thinking, well, my audience hates pop-ups and you probably hate them too. There's no doubt you've probably been frustrated before by seeing a pop-up when you jump on someone's website and a big pop-up jumps up and you can't click off, make it completely impossible. You know, that is very frustrating. But there is a right way to go about setting up a website pop-up. See, if it triggers right away as they jump on the website and it's got a spammy feel to it, then sure, it's definitely going to annoy some people. However, if the pop-up is clean, fires at the right time, gives someone a chance to actually browse through the website first, and it's got a really nice offer that people actually want, then they're much more likely to actually give their details and get less annoyed about the pop-up itself. Now, if you're wondering what sign-up rate you should be aiming for, well, we like to think that the gold standard is 10%. Now, I almost guarantee if you jump into Klaviyo and you check your sign-up rate at the moment, it's probably at around that 2 to 4%. Because if you're not testing your pop-up every single week, it's going to become really hard to really improve that sign-up rate and get to that 10% mark. But don't worry, because if it is at 2 to 4%, then that's really good news, because it means there's so much opportunity to actually grow and drive more subscribers onto your list. Now, I want to quickly run you through why every single percent matters with your email sign-up rate, and why it's so important to be striving for an extra 1 to 2 to 3% every single month. Now, let's take two identical brands, same ads, same product, and they have the exact same monthly website traffic. See, brand A, they have a 2% sign-up rate, whereas brand B, they've got a 10% sign-up rate. Now, even though they had the exact same amount of website visitors, brand B's email list is growing 5 times faster than brand A's. And from this, if you do the math, that's an extra 8,000 subscribers onto their email list every single month. And if you extrapolate this over the next 12 months, that's an extra 96,000 new subscribers onto their email list every single year. Now imagine 96,000 extra subscribers going through your flows and seeing your campaigns every single year without having to spend an extra cent on ad spend. This is exactly why it is so important to nail your pop-up strategy and strive for that extra 1 to 2 to 3 to 4% every single month, so you can squeeze as much revenue from your email list as possible. Okay, now I want to get a little bit deeper into the weeds and explain actually what are the mechanisms behind a high converting website pop-up. So the number one thing you want to focus on when you are structuring your pop-up comes down to the offer. It is simply the most important factor, and pretty much nothing else matters unless you get this offer right. See, when it comes to sign-up forms, people don't really like giving away their details for free, so you actually got to have a pretty good incentive to get people to give away their details and get you on the email list. So some examples we like to use, and probably from our favorite to least favorite, probably starts at the dollar amount off. So whether you got $20, $30, $40 off, depending on your average order price and profits as well. And then you got percentage off, so 10, 15, 20% off. You got free shipping, you got buy one, get one. You got giveaways. There's so many options you can choose. So choose one and then do some testing to actually see if people are resonating with that pop-up, and you can actually A/B test between offers to really nail down what your customers are going to be most receptive to. Now that you have an offer that people want, the next step is to minimize the friction it takes to actually get that sign up. So a couple ways you can do this is you can reduce the number of input fields, you can reduce the load time, you can disable double opt-in so they don't have to put their details in and reconfirm their sign up. And then you can also have the coupon code on the success page. So that way they don't have to go to their emails and try and search for the code. It's simply there after they submit, they get that code, they can copy it and then go straight to shopping on your website. So now that we've reduced the friction to sign up, we can flip that and then we can increase the friction it takes for them to actually click off the pop-up. Now, obviously we don't want to make it impossible for them to leave the form because that's going to annoy them, but there are some things we can do to cause a little bit of a pattern interrupt and prevent them from clicking off right away without actually looking at the offer. So you can make the close form button text only. So just have a little bit of text under the sign up form button, and that way you're not really drawing eyes right to that area. Second, you can make that text as well really, really small, still visible, but not as big as the button above it. And third, you can remove that big X in the top right corner because a lot of people are instantly, going to click that X without actually looking. So if you can remove that button there, it causes a little bit of a pattern interrupt, and then they're actually forced to look at the offer and then they can decide from there. Another thing I want to cover is having big and clear call to actions. So make sure the call to action button is contrasted from the background color and it's also big text. The reason why is this will drastically increase your sign up rate. You want to make it as simple and clear as possible for what you want your subscriber to do. Another thing is having very, very simple design. We want to keep the design as minimal as possible, but we still want it to be aesthetic so it does complement the offer. We also want to have really, really punchy and short copy. Again, like the design, it shouldn't take away energy from the offer, but it should add power to the offer. Too much copy and the shopper will get bored and they'll click off, and too little copy and they won't really understand what the pop-up's about. So now that you've decided the offer, you've got the principles down packed, next we want to talk about how to actually present this offer. So there's 5 different form types that we like to use. I'm going to explain which ones are most effective and then which ones would be suited for your brand itself. So first is the classic presentation. So this one's all about displaying the offer on the first page of the form, and they're giving them a chance to sign up and enter their details right away. This is probably what you see 99% of brands out there doing. And while some brands have great success with this, it is becoming a little bit old. So I wouldn't actually personally recommend this strategy for your brand itself. In fact, I rarely see pop-ups like this getting over a 10% sign-up rate these days. The second pop-up form is the micro commitment. This works by asking a yes or no question first before we give them a chance to enter their details. Now, if they say yes, then they've micro committed into that form, and then they're much more likely to actually go through and enter their details on the second step. Micro commitments itself are a really, really good strategy that you should adopt in a lot of your marketing across all channels, because there's heaps of evidence and studies that show that if someone takes an action, no matter how small it is, that micro commitment, they're much more likely to actually go through and continue and follow through with that action. So if you're going to implement that across every area of your marketing, that's great. And this is really where we are able to take advantage of that in the pop-up area. Now, as you can see with the example here, we ask them, would you like 10% off your first order? And then once they select yes, then and only then do we give them the chance to sign up. The reason why it works so well is because humans have an innate desire to act with consistency with their previous actions. So by getting that small yes up front, you remove all of the friction that was there before, and they're practically ready to say yes and give you their email. The next one here is the mystery discount pop-up. Now, the emotion that the mystery discount taps into is curiosity. Curiosity is really, really important because it creates that sense of intrigue in your customer's mind. And if you are able to trigger that thought of curiosity, then you can drive them to gather more information about the sign-up form. The key here is we don't reveal the discount amount right away, as this creates that sense of intrigue and suspense in the shopper's mind. And then the only way they can actually find out that discount value is by opting in and giving you their details. Okay, and the last one here, and this is my personal favorite, this is the information gatherer. Now, the reason why I love the information gatherer so much, because once we get that information from the subscriber, then we can then tailor the welcome flow based on what they opted in. So for example, if you are a skincare brand, you can get information on what pain point they're suffering with. So gut health or acne, eczema, whatever it is, we get that information in the pop-up phase, and then that welcome flow path is going to be tailored based on whether they chose acne or whether they chose eczema or whether they chose gut health. And this is super powerful for creating an amazing customer journey, and it does wonders for your conversion. Okay, now I want to talk about some form settings that you should have enabled on your pop-up form. So first, I want to talk about the teaser. So it's really important that you actually have this teaser, and it probably increases your rate by 2 to 3%. The reason why is because a lot of people accidentally click off or they're not on the page for long enough to see the pop-up actually come up. So if we have a teaser in the bottom corner, then so people can actually click on that and then opt up manually like that rather than waiting for it to fire. Next is focusing on time delay. So it's really important that you get the time delay right, because too soon and you'll annoy your subscribers and they'll click right off without actually looking at the pop-up, and too late and you won't actually get enough people to view the form. So the firing time is going to be different for every brand, but personally, we like to recommend between 8 to 20 seconds long, because this will give the shopper enough time to view the pop-up before it fires. Now, if you're a little bit more conservative and you're super worried about annoying your customers, then you can probably go to that 20 to 25 second mark. But if you want to be more aggressive and you're happy to, drive more signups, then you go for that 8 to 12 second time. And as a pro tip, what you can do is you can look at your average session time, and then you can actually fire the pop-up a couple seconds before that to make sure you are getting it to as many subscribers as possible. Now, the last step, and this is probably the most important step at getting through that 10% mark, comes down to how frequently you A/B test your form. So there's 5 main tests that we like to perform, and the first one comes down to your offer. This is the most important test that you can run, so definitely run this first, as the offer plays the major part in determining whether people actually are going to give their details. So you want to be testing percentage off versus dollar off, or free shipping versus buy one get one free. Whatever you're doing, do a bunch of those tests, let them run for a couple of weeks or even a month long, and then determine the best offer that you can actually run for your subscribers. The second A/B test you can run is testing the form type. So this is where you're testing a micro commitment versus a mystery discount, or mystery versus standard, or standard versus information gatherer. Frequently run these tests early on to find out which form your customers are going to be most receptive to. Third, you can test images. So you can test having a side image versus no side image, or you can test an image above versus no image above. You want to do these tests. Usually we find that having no image performs the best, but some shoppers are a little bit different, and it's going to depend on brand to brand. So having an image there might actually capture their attention a little bit more. So it's definitely worth testing this, and we find that we see some really interesting results by testing the image versus no image. The fourth is testing the copy. So this is where you're testing headlines. So you're asking a question versus a statement, or you're testing the buttons. So you're testing the copy of the button. So maybe a claim now or yes, please, whatever you're doing, you're testing the copy. Make sure you either test the headline or the button copy. The subheaders and that sort of stuff probably don't have that much of an effect. So it's important that you're not wasting your time running tests on those things. You can also test the color of the copies. You can test different types of your brand colors to see what performs best. But I do want to make sure you steer clear of doing redundant tests that aren't really going to get a high ROI. And then lastly, you can test the firing time. So this is where you're testing 8 seconds versus 12 seconds, or 15 versus 20 seconds, doing all these tests to really find out what load time is going to be the best for your subscribers. Okay, so there you have it. There is a high level overview of how to get your pop-up to 10% sign up rate and how to grow your email list as fast as possible. I really recommend you implement as much as you can into your own strategy now. And whilst this was a high level overview, if you want a more full and in-depth guide, I've actually released a free website pop-up document. It's pretty much goes over how to grow your email list as fast as possible, goes over all the Klaviyo time delays, all the settings you need to have, all the offers, some examples from other brands that you can use and steal and run with. So if you want access to that, I've linked it down in the description. Definitely recommend checking that out. And then whilst I've got you here, if you are a brand owner or a manager looking for some more custom or maybe some more tailored advice for your email marketing that's going to be specific to your brand, I'd love to offer you a free email marketing audit with myself. So pretty much what this is getting access to your Klaviyo account, jumping into the back end and pulling apart every single area of your email marketing strategy. So your email list growth, your flows, campaigns, segmentations, deliverability. We'll look at everything, and then from there, we'll actually provide you with a custom 30 to 90 day roadmap that you can go ahead and share with your team and implement by yourself. And then don't worry if you have nothing set up as well, that's okay too, because we'll run you through the exact steps to get started and drive revenue from your email marketing. So if this is of interest and you want to have a chat, just click the link below. You can book in the time on my calendar, and I'll speak to you soon.